This video tells a dramatized and fictionalized story inspired by royal intrigue, and none of the events, medical details, or personal reactions should be taken as factual. With that said, let's dive into the unfolding drama. Today's narrative begins with insiders whispering that King Charles's condition has reached a point of no return, marking a dramatic turning point in our fictional account of the monarchy's most unsettling hour. In this imagined scenario, the illusion of stability collapses the moment a stark announcement emerges from behind palace walls, delivered with a gravity that cuts through the nation like a cold wind. Before we explore the deeper implications of this unfolding drama within our fictional world, make sure you're subscribed so you never miss the next chapter of this ongoing royal saga. What follows the initial statement isn't simply an update, it is portrayed as a national shockwave. Though brief, every word is delivered with a somber heaviness that the fictional palace staff can no longer conceal. No soft language, no gentle reassurances, none of the carefully crafted optimism usually reserved for royal communications. Instead, the spokesperson's strained voice and halting cadence signal that everything has changed far faster than expected, leaving the palace bracing for a future it fears is arriving ahead of schedule. In this imagined moment, the country seems to hold a single shared breath, suspended in disbelief. Households, shops, and busy public spaces across the fictional Britain fall suddenly silent as the announcement spreads with electrifying speed. People freeze mid-step, clutching their phones, replaying the news again and again, muttering quiet protests like, "Not now, not like this," as if their hope alone could alter what has been revealed. Outside Buckingham Palace, within the dramatized version of this story, crowds gather with astonishing speed, tourists mixing with locals who instinctively draw closer to the gates. Tearful reactions blend with stunned quiet as strangers stand shoulder to shoulder, attempting to grasp the magnitude of the moment. Even the city itself seems to hesitate, caught between shock and grief. Yet beneath the emotional weight of the moment lies something even more troubling, the tone of the palace's wording. It is raw, unusually direct, and missing the reassuring polish typically used to steady the public. The phrasing invites more questions than answers, inspiring endless speculation among reporters scrambling to fill airtime. What exactly happened behind closed doors? Why reveal this now? And why does the statement feel more like a warning than an update? But perhaps the most striking detail in this fictional account is the conspicuous absence of Queen Camilla. She is nowhere to be seen as the announcement is delivered, an omission that instantly fuels speculation. In royal history, absences rarely whisper, they thunder. And the Queen Consort's silence in this imagined moment reverberates through the crowd, sparking theories that spread faster than the palace could ever contain. Cameras zoom in on windows, bystanders strain for a glimpse, and it becomes obvious that the announcement is only the visible part of something much larger and far more complicated stirring deep within the palace. Behind those gilded walls, panic replaces protocol. In this dramatized retelling, everything begins the night before with a single encrypted call. Past midnight, Balmoral's quiet corridors transform into a flurry of hushed voices and urgent footsteps. One private, high-security message sets off a chain reaction that shifts the balance of power within the monarchy almost instantly. Earlier that day, Charles had shown subtle but worrisome changes, slower steps, confusion, a pale and strained expression. His personal physician, usually composed, became visibly concerned. When preliminary test results returned late that night, the situation escalated with terrifying speed. Without waiting for official channels, the physician initiated a rarely used emergency protocol. The moment the call was placed, senior aides were jolted awake by coded alerts, each one realizing this was not a drill. Prince William is the first family member notified, contacted directly through a private line typically reserved only for moments of national importance. The voice on the other end delivers the news with controlled urgency. William wastes no time. He sits up, fully alert, and begins issuing quiet but decisive instructions. Headlines are monitored, statements are drafted, teams mobilize. His response reflects not just a son's concern, but an heir's instinctive acceptance of responsibility. Camilla's reaction, however, unfolds differently. Palace insiders in this fictional account describe her as stunned into contemplative silence. She speaks briefly with the medical team, then retreats from sight, leaving aides anxious and uncertain. Hours pass with no public appearance, her absence lingering like a question the palace refuses to answer. Princess Anne arrives next, the unsung anchor of the family. She slips into Balmoral discreetly, her face marked with deep worry. She is the sibling who always shows up, without spectacle, without hesitation. Her arrival signals that this is no ordinary health scare, it is something irreversible. Meanwhile, Camilla remains unseen, her seclusion raising concerns not only about her emotional state, but about the deeper political implications. Staff members whisper behind closed doors, unsure whether her silence comes from grief, fear, or something more strategic. Some claim to hear pacing, muffled crying, or the soft rustle of handwritten letters. Others say she is rehearsing conversations aloud, arguments with memories or regrets only she can hear. The atmosphere grows tense. Her absence feels at once familiar, echoing the days after Princess Diana's passing, and yet far heavier. Camilla is no longer a hidden figure in the background, she is queen consort. Her sudden withdrawal creates a leadership vacuum that unsettles even her loyal aides. As Camilla wrestles with emotion, a different kind of force rises. Prince William, steady and composed, moves like a man who already senses the future shifting onto his shoulders. He calls strategic meetings behind locked doors, not symbolic gatherings, but urgent planning sessions. Kensington Palace becomes a command center, where William steps into a role that feels both inevitable and long prepared. Stability becomes the priority. He reminds those closest to him of the promises he once made to his mother, Diana, promises to serve with compassion, resilience, and humanity. Behind closed doors, Charles privately acknowledges William's emerging leadership. Though weakened, the king offers subtle but unmistakable support, an approving nod, a whispered directive. No decree is needed, everyone in the room understands what it means. But not everyone welcomes this accelerated shift. Camilla's circle senses the change, their influence tied closely to Charles's authority. With his strength fading, their footing weakens. Soon, the palace splits into two quiet camps, William's and Camilla's. The shift is subtle, but undeniable. Then comes Charles's private confession. In a secluded room, he summons Princess Anne and a long-trusted aide. There, he reveals a secret he has carried for decades, a letter written after Diana's death, updated over the years, meant to guide the monarchy in a moment of crisis. The letter is not merely sentimental. It is strategic, and its contents shake the foundation of the monarchy. Within hours, the sealed document is retrieved from the archives, delivered only to Anne, William, and the Privy Council. Its message is clear. If the king becomes incapacitated, William must receive immediate acting authority, not a transfer of the crown, but the closest possible step without abdication. Camilla is not mentioned. Her exclusion is glaring. Her reaction is explosive. When she finally reads the letter, her devastation turns to anger. She challenges advisors, demands explanations, confronts William directly. But William remains composed, stating that the directive comes from the king alone. Anne tries to mediate, but even she cannot deny the truth. Charles intended for William, not Camilla, to carry the crown's weight during a crisis. The palace fractures deepen. Staff align themselves quietly with one side or the other. Tension thickens in every corridor. Whispers turn into leaks, leaks into headlines, and headlines into national anxiety. And just when the pressure threatens to break the palace apart, King Charles emerges for a final appearance in this fictional storyline. He addresses the nation not with pomp, but with vulnerable honesty. He acknowledges his failing strength. He speaks Diana's name with emotion that reverberates across the kingdom. He praises William as the monarchy's anchor. Though he does not abdicate, he signals unmistakably that the transition has begun. The world reacts with an outpouring of emotion, vigils, tributes, messages from leaders. Yet inside the palace, the machinery of succession continues to turn. Parliament quietly discusses contingency plans. Advisors review protocols unseen for generations. Drafts of a royal decree wait in the shadows. And at the center of it all lies a single letter, one king's final attempt to secure the future, protect his legacy, and shape the dawn of a new era. As this fictional chapter closes, the monarchy stands on the edge of transformation. The crown isn't just preparing for a handover, it is bracing for rebirth. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next part of this unfolding fictional royal saga.